Everyone. Now start over. Welcome everyone to the weekly meeting of Matthews Mint Hill Toastmasters, where we rock, flow, and grow. Adam's like, how do I sneak out of here? It's pretty scary at first, Adam, but it'll make sense as we go along. If you need the restroom, they're somewhere out in the hallway, right, Scott?
Yeah.
Somewhere out there. Hopefully for just an hour, you'll be able to hold it. Yeah, really, they're out there somewhere. Our Toastmaster today is our Vice President of Education, Mr. Jeffrey Elam. You gotta come up here. You gotta come up here. You can't do it from back there.
Wow, I thought Vicky had a little more to say. I guess took me for a little. But again, welcome to today's meeting. Thank you, Vicky, for opening up the meeting. I want to remind us of our mission statement, where we provide a supportive and positive environment in which members are empowered to develop communication, leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I want to start by recognizing our officers. Let's recognize our great membership president, Scott. Treasurer, who's responsible for keeping track of all the funds, Mr. Jonathan Weeks. And our Vice President of Public Relations, Ms. Valencia Timms. So today's theme guide, but before I do, let me recognize our guests. We got Alyssa, who's on Zoom today. Welcome, Alyssa. And Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind. Where are you from and what brings you here today?
I grew up here in Mint Hill. I'm a senior at University of North Carolina at Charlotte, studying business management.
Okay, so a little requirement for school, huh? Thank you. We get you guys here all the time. And Alyssa, tell us a little bit about why you're here today.
I am also a senior this year. I'll graduate in December from UNC Charlotte. And this is one of the requirements for one of my managerial communication classes. So I'm here to get that done and learn more about it.
Awesome. Have you landed your job yet? We had one of you guys, one of your classmates here last week, and they already had a job already. I'm like, wow, I guess things are moving quickly for some of you guys.
I am in some of the multiple step interview processes, like third and fourth interview step processes right now.
And that's a shame they make you gotta do all these interviews for a job, but good luck with that. I'm sure you'll land something of your dreams.
Thanks.
So today's theme is, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And I think a lot of us wait for things to come by, like a job is going to come by, knock on our door and welcome us. But as we all know, you have to get out there and create opportunities. So I know we have a lot of former business owners in here, or current business owners, and you guys know better than most how you have an idea, you have a dream, but then you have to go out there and actually do the action, take the steps that it's going to take to fulfill your dreams. So we're going to talk about that throughout the meeting. Now for our roles. Vicky's been kind enough to lay out some of our roles today. Tim, you're the timer for today. I'm sorry. Scott, you're the timer for the day. Tell us a little bit about your role.
Okay.
Please welcome Scott to the podium.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. So as timer, it's my job to keep track of the times for all the speakers and to let them know when they're hitting their time marks. So like for Jonathan, he's got a particularly long speech today. It's going to be 20 minutes. So I'll just let him know by holding up green, letting him know he's hit 20 minutes. If he continues to keep going to 21, I'll hold up yellow. And then if he goes to 22, I'll hold up red to let him know his time is done. Yeah, that's right. And then I'll do the same. I'll do the same for the table topics as well. 1.5 minutes, or 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and 2 minutes. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Nice. Next up will be our grammarian, Tim.
Oh, is this what we do?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Jeffrey, and good morning to you guys, or afternoon. I messed that up. You know why I'm doing that? Because I'm used to a church crowd, which is always in the morning.
Yeah.
So I always say good morning. The grammarian duties are to listen for any awkward uses of grammar. For example, incomplete sentences, incorrect grammar, sentences that change direction in midstream, which I am very bad about doing that. During the course of the meeting, listen to each Toastmaster who speaks and take notes of any poor or exceptionally awkward grammar uses. The Toastmaster will ask for your report at the end of the meeting. Stand by your chair and give your report. So the ah counter is a big piece of it. And the purpose of the ah counter is to give you some feedback that you can use to keep from using the words ah or other crutches, as I'm just now getting ready to do. I noticed when I watched America's Funniest Videos, the host is Alonzo. And, you know, he's on for an hour. I could not believe it. He never said, oh, once. And so I thought, you know, it is doable.
Yeah.
So like me, if you use it all the time, getting feedback will help you cut it down. So this is the goal, and this is what I'm going to try to do today.
Today, Jonathan's speech evaluator will be Valencia. Valencia, tell us a little bit about your role and what you do.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Today, I am serving as an evaluator, a speech evaluator for our speaker, our prepared speaker, Jonathan Weeks. So what I will do in my role is look for things that he excelled at, give him feedback on things he might want to do in future speeches to challenge himself or to improve his speech. Evaluation is very important in what we do as Toastmasters. So I pray that I am able to give him some useful feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Valencia. Next up is our speech today. The speech is titled, What Rowing Taught Me, Jonathan Weeks. In his intro, Jonathan is performing the Presentation Mastery Level 5 speech, Prepare to Speak Professionally. In this 20-minute speech, Jonathan will talk about his experience rowing and what he learned. Hopefully, it won't feel like 20 minutes.
Thank you, Toastmaster. My journey rowing, and what I learned. Rowing in Britain is completely different than it is here. As you can see, my rowing club is the city of Oxford. Lots of cities in Britain have rowing clubs. It is very popular. Out of 60 million people, about 600,000 people, or about 1% of the population, row. There's an event called the Oxford and Cambridge Boat Race. Happens once a year. 6 million people tune in to watch it. That's 10% of the country. Hugely popular. It is not the elitist sport that it is here, simply because access to it is a lot easier. All the cities are built on rivers. Now, the way I got into rowing was through my father. My father being an international rower. He won regattas all over Europe. Got so many medals, we stuck them in the attic, and they're just being left there to corrode. Kind of a shame when you think about it. But it was no surprise that as soon as me and my brother became of age to get stuffed into a boat, that he did. I as a cox, the guy who steers the boat, my brother as a rower with one of his friends in what they call a pair. 2 people, 1 blade. And we won quite a few races like that. Until my brother found women. Yeah. And so I went from coxing him to coxing the women's 4. Here's me, coxing the women's 4. Yeah, pass that around if you want. And that was great. We won quite a few regattas. My father coached us, did really well. But then I progressed into the men's eights, coxing those big long boats. Took forever to turn around a corner. But unfortunately, my age got ahead of me and I put on a little bit of weight. And a cox is just dead weight in the boat, just steering. That's all you do. So they said, no, not anymore. We're not pulling you. Okay, I'll pull myself. So I got into a little boat by myself. Let's do that. Little boat by myself. There you go. I hope you can see that. It's a single scull, one person, two blades. And I did successfully at that too. But the most memorable regatta I went to was the one with my dad. They had an event, fathers and sons pair. Again, cox, two people rowing, one blade each. And we had several heats. We went through about 4 or 5 of the heats before we got to the final. And in the final, we was put against one of Dad's main competitors. So he had something to prove here. He was not going to lose this race. And he said to me, you concentrate on the pace. Don't worry about pulling. But okay. Got to the start. Tension, set, go. Off we went. First 10 strokes, fine, no problem. Went the same as every other race. The 11th stroke. The first 10 strokes are always just getting the boat moving. You're not actually going up to racing speed. You're lifting the boat out of the water to glide across the top. The 11th stroke, however, is where you start adding the speed. And we're going like this, nice and straight. And my dad pulls in that 11th stroke. All of a sudden, he pulls the boat over. Boom. And the cox has to fight it back straight. Boom. Boom. We keep going like that until halfway down the course. My dad just being too strong and pulling me around. Then halfway through the course, we're losing. They got half a length on us. Like, damn, okay, we're losing. My dad says, increase the rating, the strokes per minute. Okay, I can do that. So from 30 strokes a minute, we go to 32 strokes a minute. The boat starts going boom, boom, boom. All right, we start gaining on them. We start gaining and we're inching back every stroke. 150 meters to the finish line. My dad says, increase the rating. Oh man, okay. So I increase the rating more. We're doing like 35 strokes a minute, which is actually pretty high for rowing. That boat's going boom, boom, boom. And you could see the boat moving up, and now we're level with them. 50 meters to go. We are neck and neck. And my dad says, increase the rating. I look over, I could see the other son. He is as tired as I am. But I go, okay, I can do this. I up it more. I don't even know how much I upped it. But the boat's going boom, boom, boom. And we won by 3 foot. I mean, that much. We won. And I'm so proud of it because this is the actual medal. I won. Okay. I also won this one by myself that day. That's the one I'm more proud of. But what I learned from that was teamwork. In a rowing boat, you have to do teamwork.
Yeah.
I set the pace. That was my job. My dad did the power. And boy, did he do the power. The cox had to do the steering correctly, otherwise we would hit the other boat. And all of it worked together. And we won. And I always remember we have to work together to get things accomplished on that. Now, there's another race called a Monmouth Head. The head part means it's slightly different. It's more like a time trial. You cross the start line, they take the time you crossed it. You cross the finish line, they take the time you crossed that. Take one from the other, you got the time you did the distance. Whoever's the fastest wins the category. Excuse me for a minute, this is hot.
I know.
This is the winter outfit for rowing. I'm not going to switch to the summer outfits. Excuse me a second. Ah, my glasses too. Ah. Yeah. Sorry for the sight. This is what I wrote rowing. So, yeah, it still fits. A little bit tight in places, but you know. But Monmouth Head this year had a problem. It rained the night before, and it was next to the mountains. If anyone here knows anything about the mountains, you know that when it rains, the river doesn't get affected that day. It gets affected the next day when the water comes down eventually. So the river was 5 foot above normal. There was a torrent of water flooding down. And they said, go ahead, we'll still do the event. This is crazy, you know. But what's even worse is you're going against the stream. So you're going up and the river's trying to push you back down. It was crazy. But me being me, I was in my little boat and say, okay, I can do this. I got up to racing speed, I crossed the start line, and I kept on going. And I passed someone. Okay, great. Kept on going, kept on doing my plan. Passed someone else. Great, I'm doing good here. Kept on going. Doesn't matter who I pass. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what event they are, what category. I have no idea. I just know I just passed someone. I keep on passing people. I'm like, great, this is cool. Right? And eventually cross the finish line. Get back into the boathouse, wait for the results. And wait. And wait. Apparently they had to triple check the times. They had to call competitors in to make sure certain things happened. And it turned out it was me that was the issue. I was rowing the under 16s.
Oh.
I won the under 16s. And I beat the next two adult categories completely. I would have won them. I even beat some of the elite rowers. Didn't win those categories, but I was so close to winning the entire event. Being an under 16, they had to go check. I got a little newspaper cutting about it.
Oh.
And by the way, when you read this, no one calls me Johnny, okay? All right. How are we doing on time? You all look a little bit bored.
No.
All right,
we're loving
stand up. Everyone stand up. Okay, Vicky, you are excused from this. If you want, stand up. Yes, you on Skype too, Valencia. I want to see you standing up too.
There you go. Get him up. Get him
All right, give yourself a little bit of room. It's more forward room you need. All right, hands out, 90 degrees in your body, loose fists, okay? Put your legs together. And just go all the way down to as far down as you can go. I'm not going to do it because they won't be able to see me on TV, on the camera. Now, come back up, keeping your arms straight. When you get up, pull your arms in. Pull your arms out, go back down. Come back in. Yep, that's it. Your arms and your legs do not move at the same time. They do not. It's one than the other. Yeah, common mistake everyone makes on the rowing machine. You can now relax. That is how you row on a rowing machine. If you see people doing their arms and legs at the same time, making funky movements over their knees, they're doing it wrong. They're not getting any of the benefits, which is a shame. Because rowing, your heart rate goes 170 to 200 beats per minute for the entire race. We're talking 6 to 8 minutes. You're doing 240 strokes at least, lifting between 35 and 75 pounds every stroke. It tests your lung capacity because you have to breathe in all that oxygen to keep your muscles working. And every race, you go through the dreaded wall that the runners keep on talking about. It is a hard, hard sport. But it taught me to keep on going, persevering. You see a target, go for it, keep going. You will get to it if you have a plan and if you have a goal. Just keep going. And then we have Evesham Regatta. I love Evesham Regatta. We went there a lot. It was great. It was a 2-day regatta. And we entered a 4, which is 4 people, 1 oar each, 1 cox in the boat. And we had a bit of a rough night, I must admit. We kind of went out partying the night before. So we were kind of a little bit hungover, you know. And we went up to our start in our little wooden boat with our wooden oars. We were wearing all sorts of gear. We were in the right colors, but we didn't match. There was me, there was my brother, there was Martin, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But we were just, you know, we didn't look the bit. And we got on to the start. But the race was postponed because there was a pleasure cruise on the course. We had to wait for that to get cleared. And as we're waiting there, we look over to our competitors. And they're there. They have this slick, shiny new racing boat, top of the line. Their blades were state of the art. They had matching all-in-one lycras. They had the same flat top haircut. They were sat there, their muscles all tense and everything. And we were just looking there, and and all of a sudden, in the middle of the boat, I think it was Martin, started saying, I had some dreams, they were clouds in my coffee. Clouds, yeah, I messed that up. Damn, let's start again. I had some dreams, there were clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. I bet you think the song is about you. Exactly, Carly Simon. We sang the whole song. It was fun. It made the event a good event. The pleasure cruise cleared. We went on one of the event. We got into their mind space. But it reminded me, you should never take sports too seriously. There are winners, there are losers. There's no guarantee who's going to win and who's going to lose. Doesn't matter how much you prepare, doesn't matter what you do to train. It all comes down to that day and who's keeps it together and who's the best. Then there was Llandaff. Llandaff in Wales. This was with my brother. I think I actually have a picture of it here too. Yeah, I do. There you go. Yeah, my brother. There we go. In a pair, one blade each, 2 people in the cox. Llandaff was a slightly unusual course. It was half the course straight, then it was a 90-degree corner, and then the other rest of the course. And then the finish line, and straight after the finish line was a weir, where the water goes over. So as soon as you finished, you had to slam on the brakes to not go over the weir. Yeah, it was fun. And this course was one my dad had a lot of experience with. And he sat down with us. He said, look, the best way to do this, don't treat it as one race. If you treat it as one race, you're going to have trouble at the corner. A good example is the car. When you try to make a 90-degree corner, you take it slow. You can do it at that. You try and take it at anything fast, you can't make it. You have trouble getting around it. Same with the rowing boat. They're not small. So you have trouble getting around the corner. He said, do the first half as a sprint. Start, flat out, stop. When you stopped, quickly do the corner, do a start again, continue to the finish. Okay. Now, Llandaff also had that one unique thing. No one could actually see up the course. All the competitors had to stay at the finish. There was no access up there. So no one could see what we were doing. And we did the first race, second race, third race, the fourth race, the final was tough. We think they started to figure out what we were doing, but we were better at it anyway. And we won. It was great. We celebrated that night. We had fun. And I remember the lesson being taught then was plan. Look at what you're about to do plan it, see where you can take advantage of what's given you, see where the optimal route is, and then make a plan to do it and then implement it. We did that every race that day and we won. I don't have the medal with me though. I know. I'm coming from England. My medals are still at home in a display cabinet in Britain. But I didn't win all the time. I lost plenty. I always remember the wins because you win.
Yeah.
The losses cut a little bit deeper, which is why you shouldn't take them so seriously. You should look back and review them all the time. But in preparing for the speech, I was going to do a thing about how losses are not the end. But I realized in reviewing what I had done, I'd never come to terms with why I stopped in the first place. Because this is my last pot I won in Britain, 1991. That was 4 years before we came to America. And I was thinking about it, and I realized the one thing I lacked, rowing in that little rowing boat, going up and down the river, time and time again, day after day after day. It was boring. I literally have that whole course memorized. I can remember every inch of it. But doing it day after day, it got so boring and so lonely. I wish I had continued because I didn't know that at the time I quit, I was actually being looked at for national squad.
Aww.
That might have changed things, but the problem still was I was the only kid for miles that was in my age group. There wasn't any new people coming in that I could row with. I had to step up to all the adults and it just didn't quite click. So I didn't. But I did come back to America and Columbia Rowing Club down in South Carolina. 2002. Won a medal at Augusta. So I still got it. How am I doing on time? Oh, wonderful. So losing isn't the end, but I wish I had continued. I don't consider it a loss. I consider it something I've lost. But unfortunately, this is the loss of the speech. I have finished. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Scott, if you could share Jonathan's time.
20 minutes and 20 seconds, Jeffrey.
Thank you so much. Great job. I didn't know we had a world-class athlete in our midst. Speaking a little bit more about creating opportunity, a few years ago, I got my real estate license. I'm like, wow, now comes the real part. I never considered myself a salesperson. So I just emailed all the friends I knew and who happened. And what happened was a friend from college actually ended up being my first client. Just so when you're selling, you definitely, your first step is to sell yourself. Believe that you can do what you set your mind out to. Next up, very excited. Jake, is this your first time as Table Topics Master?
No, I've done table topics once before, probably about 6 or 7 months ago.
Perfect. Well, welcome back to the stage. Jake is Table Topics Master for today. Take it away.
All right. So with today's theme being, sorry, I'm going to read it again. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. I tried to select a few questions that would be relevant to that. So we will start off with, I'm trying to see who else in the room. I can't see well.
You have Tim here. You have.
I got it. Well, I'll do this one for Vicky. I'll go ahead and pray on her. So Vicky, what is your biggest missed opportunity?
Tough question.
So you're picking on me, Jake, right? That's okay. What was my biggest missed opportunity? Well, it wasn't my fault. Okay. When when you're a senior in high school, y'all remember that? It was a long time ago. I don't know if they still do it or not, but we had career day. Right? Adam says yes. You're probably the youngest in the room, so you remember that. So career day, I wanted to be a court stenographer. I love anything in the law. I love to type. So it was just perfect. And that's what I wanted to be. And somebody there, I think it was the people from Southern Bell, the phone company, because, you know, that's the biggest recruiter. And, you know, back then you said, operator, remember that? No, you don't remember that. You're too young. Does anybody remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. They told me that that was not a wise choice because it would go to computers and I would be out of a job. And I believed them, Jeffrey. I actually believed them. So that was the biggest missed opportunity. Well, there was another one too. I forgot about. The principal, don't laugh at me. I'm trying to be serious. If I'm trying to be funny, you never laugh. The principal called me after graduation, a couple of days after graduation, and asked if I would come and be the school secretary or work in the office, because I had done a little bit of that my senior year. And as ignorant as I was, all I could see was you only got paid 9 months out of the year. And I said no. So that's probably one of, they're about the same. They're both missed opportunities that I know you got the red. That it is hard to see those little things from up here though. Yeah, yeah. So that was my two biggest missed opportunities. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you for that. Let's see. I know we're a little bit stretched on time and I had a few questions just to make sure I had enough. Let's do something. Okay, we'll do this one. So last week, we just endured Hurricane Ian. The Charlotte area may not have got as affected as much as I did because I live a little bit further east in Anson County, but still, it was a bad storm. Many people were unprepared for this event, despite the countless warnings and information that was made available. Not only do people seem to do this during weather events, which is being unprepared, they are often unprepared for life itself, regardless of how many warnings, information, or advice is available to those people. How would you prepare for a storm, whether it be the actual hurricane or one of life's storms? Is Valencia available for this one?
No, she
No.
is the evaluator for Johnson's speech.
Lynn
Okay.
doesn't have a role.
You have Lynn, who does not have a role today.
Okay, let's do him.
Her.
Excuse me.
So how would I prepare for a storm? Well, first, I'm not going to be one of them people that just jumps in the car and takes off. I'm scared. No, I'm going to try to, evaluate on that. Figure out, well, is it really going to come here? How bad is it? And I kind of take the same philosophy with anything that comes my way. I don't run from challenges. I evaluate them. And if I feel as though there is not all that much to worry about, I ain't gonna waste my time. I'm just gonna persevere and come out on the other end. There really is, you can prepare and prepare and prepare. That does not mean that you're gonna be ready for it. Hurricane Ian was on his way here, I guess you could say. We had a couple of customers that were calling us, and I understand if they wanted to spend the money to prepare for this hurricane coming, but I felt it was a little over the top to spend $500 for some sandbags to be put up. And I have way more things to spend $500 on. So I feel you need to evaluate stuff before you just act on it. You need to know what you're doing.
Perfect. Okay. We'll move on down the list. We'll do this one. Life is full of risk. When is the time you have left your comfort zone and taken a risk? Scott, would you like to take this one?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I forgot he was timekeeper, but
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. I would say probably the biggest time was when I started my own business. I was working at Bank of America for several years, and I was on a track. I was in foreign exchange for a while, and had an opportunity to move to California, which I declined. But the great thing about these huge organizations is they have a pretty calculated path. If you do well and you show up on time and you do what you're supposed to do, you can know the direction. Unless they do widespread layoffs, you can know where you're going to be, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. But I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't cut out for a big organization like that. So I still remember talking to my wife and deciding we're going to start our own business. And we just felt like it was the right thing. But, when you do that, you don't really have customers. You've got to figure out what you're going to do and do it. And fortunately for me, it worked out very well all these years later. I wouldn't change anything when it comes to that. And then real quickly, I would say another one was, and this was a huge risk, and that was moving to Charlotte. We didn't know anybody when we moved here from Pennsylvania. In fact, family was saying, why are you moving 8-9 hours away? You don't know anybody there. And really because the job situation here was so much better than it was in Pennsylvania. And so we did, and I thought it was going to take us a long time to get jobs. And we were going to have all summer to enjoy the pool and then find a job at the end of the summer. Well, both my wife and I had jobs within just a few weeks. So that was probably another one of the biggest risks. But anyway, thank you, Jake. Appreciate it.
thank you. Okay, how much time do we have available? I have like about 2 or 3 more questions.
No.
No. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
We good?
Scott, I know you spoke. Do you have our times for the table
I
topics?
sure do. Vicky was 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Lynn, 1 minute, 28 seconds. I was 2 minutes, 7 seconds.
Those of us in attendance, if you could fill out your ballot, the last part, and you can write who you thought won table topics today. Well, now for the exciting time, Valencia, are you ready to give us your evaluation for Jonathan's speech?
I am ready.
Take it away, Valencia.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Let me tell you a little bit about this project to prepare to speak professionally. Jonathan was challenged with the purpose of this project to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. He was to deliver an engaging keynote style speech, which he did. He had humor, it was informational, and he chose to use both of those. So that was good to include. And he was to demonstrate excellent presentation and deliver compelling content. I'll tell you, I don't know anything about rowing, so you're right. It's probably more popular in Britain than it is in America. And if it's elitist, I know I don't know anything about it. But I love how you explained what rowing is. And with each race that you talked to us about, you gave some explanation about it, gave us some background on it. And that was really good for people who don't know anything. I still don't know what a cox is. I'm like, what? There was a cox there though, in each of these races. I personally don't know what that is. But I held on to that word because I'm like, what is that? I'm going to have to look that up. Your speech was full of entertaining things, especially I love your dad. I love every time your dad showed up. He was in the beginning of this speech and at the end, giving you advice. I loved it when you said that your dad was telling you to work that pace and he had the power so that you could win. I was on the edge of my seat wondering how this race was going to turn out. And it was interesting that you won in most of these races, Jonathan, even though you told us that you lost plenty, but I'm glad that at the end you said, I moved on from that. So what's the use in telling you about the times I lost, right? You are really good at commentary and explanation. And you had all of your props. You had pictures, you had medals, you had a pot. I wasn't expecting that to be an award, but I saw that. So I appreciated you bringing all of those things into your speech. You did a demonstration. You had people stand up and demonstrate what rowing is when you do it correctly. I love that. And my favorite part, the highlight, the wardrobe change. How many people can pull this off during a speech? That was excellent. I love that you did that to demonstrate the change in uniform, especially because you were getting hot in that winter suit.
Yeah.
I wanted to rename your speech, and only because, you know, it's me, Valencia. I said, we should call this speech, No One Calls Me Johnny.
Yes. Never.
But I love this speech, Jonathan. The only thing that I would tell you to work on is your pacing, and stop asking how much time you have. I don't do that anymore, okay? You knew the speech was 20 minutes and you needed to just pace yourself. And it was interesting because in part of your speech, when you talked about wait, you said wait and wait and wait, and you kind of slowed down right there. I was like, yes, get that pacing throughout this whole thing, and then you won't wonder where you are. You had a lot of content there. You gave us from beginning to end 4 races is what I counted, and the explanation of all of the races and the character of your dad being there, and talked about why you stopped in the first place, which got my attention, and I wasn't expecting you to say it was boring. Twist. All of that took up all the time you needed. So I really appreciated this speech, and I would just say work on your pacing if you're doing a longer presentation, because you got a lot of material that's worth sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that excellent evaluation, Valencia. Next up is our grammarian, who's going to tell us how well or unwell we did today.
Thank you. I think it's ironic that I was given this opportunity since I struggle with so much. So I counted the ones that I used as well, so I'm going to report that too. I was very impressed. You know, most of you guys did not use that very much. And after I talked about Alonzo being able to do an hour-long show and not saying it one time, I thought, man, that's impressive. But you guys are good too. Jonathan, none, not one time, not one crutch. I was very impressed by that. Very well done, I thought. One thing I will say though is I didn't know if the speech was going to be family friendly, especially when we, did the striptease part. And you did use some swear words in the speech. Now, you did. So
That's not a swear word.
oh, yes, it is. I'm here to tell you it is, but at any rate, if in certain crowds, I'm sure that would be fine. But you never know what audience that you have. This may be off-putting to some, so just to consider that. Jake, you had 2, and Vicky, only one. Lynn, you had 4. And so I'm moving up the list here. I had 6 in my little 1-minute speech. But the winner was Scott.
Yes.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
He had 7. You edged me out by 1. So we all can improve by getting feedback on this. I know I didn't think about it, to be honest, and I talk all the time in different meetings. So it's good to focus on these things. So that's the report. Thank you.
We do not have a general evaluator for today, but I want to ask, I guess, Adam and Alyssa, what you guys thought about the meeting today. Start with you, Adam.
Okay, I thought it was awesome. I really didn't know what to expect coming in here. I really didn't know much about it, and now I feel like I know more than
What do you
I
want to
did when
know?
I came in. And I feel like I feel like I had a really good time.
Oh,
I
great.
feel like it was an awesome opportunity, and I definitely want to come back.
Thank you. Adam. Alyssa, you
Yeah.
have any feedback you would like to share?
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot better than going to class today. This was in turn of us going to class today. So it was a lot more fun and engaging. I really enjoyed the table topics section because I feel like it got everybody involved and not everybody was just sitting back and being disengaged. I really liked that engagement part of it. But yeah, it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Ask her what class did she get?
What class is this for, Alyssa?
Mine is for managerial communication.
Oh.
Yours the same, Adam? Okay, perfect.
Oh, okay.
Well, before we conclude today's meeting, we have a very special installation for both Lynn and Tim. Welcome Scott to the floor. And no, has Jake not been installed?
I don't know. Ask
I believe he has been installed. Okay.
Jake, have you been installed?
Jake, have you been installed as a new member?
Where you got dunked in the toilet?
I don't think I have.
Was that a no?
I guess a no. I don't believe I have.
Okay, well, that's no problem. We'll take care of that today.
We'll take care of it today.
Lynn, you want to come on up?
Scared.
Yeah, don't be.
Do them all.
It only hurts for a minute.
I play back.
Yes. So membership in Toastmasters is a privilege. And the only way to gain the benefits of our program is to actively participate, which all 3 of you do. Do you, Tim, Lynn, and Jake, promise to be active members of this club, to attend meetings regularly, and prepare fully for your duties? Do you also promise to fulfill the other points in the Toastmasters promise? If you do, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm agreeing to on the.
Well, it says
Or I
you
agree.
can list them out, but there's no list on here. So I think it's wash my car. There's some other.
I was afraid of.
Well, you can put.
As much as I know, yes.
Yes, that's a smart man right there. That was a smart man. Then I'm gonna ask all the club members. Do you, the members of Matthews Mint Hill Toastmasters Club, promise to support these 3 new members as they work the Toastmasters program?
Yeah.
Great.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions, right back. Then it is my pleasure to declare you installed as members of the Matthews Mint Hill Toastmasters Club. Yay! Thank you.
Lynn, if I can hold on to you for one moment.
Uh-oh.
Today's winner of table topics is Lynn. Thank you. So that completes the meeting portion. To do some post-meeting activities. We don't have a lot of speeches lined up for the next few weeks. So if anyone has a speech, and thank you so much, Jonathan, for stepping up today. Valencia, do you have a speech out there that you're waiting to schedule?
Yes.
Okay.
That's when he's working on his next speech.
And Scott, do you have a date in mind yet that you would like to reschedule your speech for?
I'll have to get back to you.
Okay, excellent. So if you guys could, yes, Jonathan,
How about any icebreakers? Do we have any icebreakers left?
we do, but Tim has,
Your icebreaker, haven't you?
I don't believe I don't recall that I have.
well, that would be great. And I'm not sure if you heard from Latricia lately. I know she renewed her membership. I wasn't sure what her plans were. But that concludes this meeting. You guys have a great weekend. Vicky, do you have something you want to say before I conclude?
Oh, there are several members that didn't renew. And just so you know, when they do renew, they still have to pay the full $60.
Okay,
So if there's anybody that you know of that maybe thinks they can get away with waiting until November to pay 50, you still gotta pay, yeah.
full year, a full
So
6 months.
there's no benefit to waiting, and I hate, we've lost about 5 people.
Something like that. And thank you to everyone who did renew. We
Yeah,
ordered it on. time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Well, you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. Gavel.
You don't have to give it back.
Okay.
I just thought it was.